Good morning. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, September 17th, and I am on here. This is a weekly broadcast that I'm having to get my YouTube going. Okay, that's one thing. And to talk about important topics. Let me introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, I'm going to be talking about building life after adversity, building a legacy. So many things it hit us in the space of adversity, whether it's depression, physical issues, or financial, relationship. The list goes on and on. But today I'm going to be talking about, what is it all for? What should be our focus? Because, I think the thing that we miss is that everybody goes through adversity, right? Whether it's planned, whether it's something you can control or can't, we all battle with this. So, how are we going to use this experience and wisdom to move forward to build the legacy that we want to? So I'm Lachelle, also known as America's Supermom, mother of 15 children, and I am a chaos crusher. I help you navigate through the chaos and overwhelm of everyday life and transform it into clarity and confidence with a smile. Now, I could go into a number of things that I do because I'm passionate about raising awareness about those who are dealing with depression, who are suffering in silence, because that was me for 13 years. I was hospitalized 3 times, and now I just can't be quiet. So I was quiet for so long about what I should be doing for myself, how I should be saying yes to myself. Um, really just exploring the things that matter to me instead of people pleasing, all these things. Now I just can't be quiet. So I use all forms of media to talk about depression because for me, it even looked different than what I thought. I thought it was okay, somebody who stays in the bed, doesn't want to get up, do anything. So the fact that I was juggling kids going back and forth to school, helping them with homework, field trips, extracurricular activities, church events, community events. I just had no idea that I was really dealing with depression, because I was so busy being a artist. That's what I would say. That's what I call it because I wore so many masks, right? I had a mask for when I was, you know, PTA functions, a mask for when I was dealing with the extracurricular activities. Everything had this cover up, right? Because there was no way that I could let people know what was really going on inside. I had to just keep moving. I had to be strong. I had to be in control. I had to do what I was supposed to do. That's what I was thinking. But that's a recipe for disaster. Now, years later, I'm finding that out. But what really prompted me to talk about this topic this morning, hey, Mary, it's so good to see you, is I woke up and I have my morning routine. Well, one of those things was I got on Instagram to check, if I had any messages or anything. And I saw this post about this lady who passed away. And it was a couple people who did it. And she was 35. And they said she was such a well known person in the business world. Her name is Jessie Lee Ward, and I don't know if you guys know her. If you do, put it in the comments. But she died of colon cancer, and just I think a year ago was when she got diagnosed with it. It was stage 4. So I just thought, oh my gosh, so young and so influential because she was making so much income every month and accomplishing all these accolades. And so at first, I didn't know who she was. So I was looking it up. I couldn't find it. Then I went to somebody else's post who also posted, and I was able to get her correct name. So I looked her up, and there was this interview that she did with Ed Milet. And so it really went into the story about, how she was successful, what that diagnosis was like, all the things that she was doing to heal herself and really be a trailblazer in how she decided to handle her diagnosis. And, we see now that she lost that battle. But it just helped me to think about, there's so many things that we do that really don't matter, right? We get caught up in following somebody else's roadmap to our journey, and we end up unfulfilled, right? We end up, one of the things that she said in her interview was, uh, that she couldn't believe it was happening to her. She didn't have kids. She hadn't accomplished some things that I'm sure she wanted to. And, things were in a perspective where she had to make some choices about, was she going to change anything? Was she going to do anything different? So that seeing this space where she's in to get over some of the regrets if there were any. Well, one of the things she talked about was that she had a very rough childhood, which really created the person that she became. And I think this is important to remember because, we can't change the past, but it does have an impact. And how we choose to look at it matters. I think about 13 years of depression, 3 hospitalizations. I can't change that. However, how can I use that as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block? And if we're not careful, we can use it as a stumbling block. Now, I'm not saying that's her issue, but it just caused me to reflect for myself because that's one of the things that has propelled me forward with being more verbal about my story with depression. One, it didn't look like what I thought it was. So it really hit me like a ton of bricks because I wasn't even aware, right? It was just kind of blindsiding me. And the other thing is that using that as a way that you could learn the lesson and you can implement the wisdom in your experience to your future, right? So, if I've learned that burning my hand on a hot stove, hey, if I were you, I wouldn't put your hand on the stove. Look, this is what happened to me. I'm just using that as an example. That's how we can be about some of our stories, right? It's that hot stove moment. You tell somebody, and hopefully they would say, okay, I see her. She got burnt. She has a scar or whatever. So I think I might want to be more mindful when I'm around the stove so that I can avoid what she went through. So I don't mean to make light of some of these things, but I'm saying, what are some things that we're doing with our past that's serving us and serving other people? So one of the things is really taking that time to reflect and say, what were some of my pitfalls? Because I can't get that 13 years back. No matter how much I try to reinvent myself or whatever, I mean, that time is already gone. So how can I propel myself forward? After these 13 years. That's what I think about. So when I think about a legacy, it's like, what did you learn that you could share with other people? And I believe it gets magnified, right? You're just thinking, oh, this will be great. I can write a book, okay, which I'm going to read a passage from my book so that I can share with others, my family, and things like that. Or I can do a podcast. I can create a video. I could, send someone a letter. There's so many different things that we can do, right? So that we can really show the difference that our experience has made in our life so that we can move forward. And a lot of times, we just try to cover up, the past. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my coaching program about reframing, right? So it's hard for us to really separate ourselves from our experiences sometimes because we can get so wrapped up in how it changed us or the pain, the anxiety or whatever that was associated with that moment in time that we forget that it's over, right? It is over. It happened. The time has passed. It's gone. And if we're not clear about reframing, we're going to keep on reliving that same emotion in different situations, right? Someone can trigger you about an old thought or old experience, and you're reliving that experience in the present over something that has already happened. This is what happens to us on a norm, right? Your kids, you yesterday, they might have not listened. So then they come in the house and something else happens and it's like, you just don't listen. That was yesterday. Today's something different, right? But we can get into these patterns. All right. Speaking to myself. And we have to remember that every day is a new seed. It's a new opportunity. It's a new way that we can respond from a place of power that can help us to move forward. So I want to read a quote, and then I'm going to read the forward from my book because I had a friend of mine, we actually met online through Clubhouse. She reached out to me and we started a club, and we started this club in 2021 and it's still going strong on Clubhouse. The Elephant Strategy Club will now say Elephant Strategy House. But the quote that I'm reading is from Oprah, and it says, "Forgiveness is letting go of the hope that the past could have been any different." I mean, this was huge. So huge that I put it in my book, okay, as a quote under the chapter of awareness, because you first have to remember that you have to let go of the hope that the past could have been any different, right? So this is really for yourself. It has to start with you. So no matter how much we try to sugarcoat it or whatever, forgiving other people, we first have to forgive ourselves, right? Because there is this idea. I was in a clubhouse room the other day, and the lady, I can't remember what the question was, but her response was, "Man, when I was a kid, my parents did something, and I just should have spoke up. If I had spoke up then, my life would be so much different now because now I have the ability to speak up. But how much more different would it have been if I spoke up then?" And it really caused me to reflect on a lot of times we want to go back and rewrite history. But if we rewrote history, we wouldn't be in the place that we are today to even think about it, right? Because it would have been a different experience. We would be different people, different experiences, different uh, outcomes, right? So there's the idea to think that we could even change the past is crazy, right? Because it is permanently written and done. So the only power we have is right now with creating a new future. So back then, we didn't realize the actions, the thoughts, the people, the circumstances, how they would impact our future. But when you go back and you reflect and you think about what choices you made or what choices you didn't make, that's where you are today is a product of that. And so if you're in a space of awareness, then you can let go that the past has to change in order for you to have a better future. See, I was in that space of being a victim, believing that, oh, woe is me. I was hospitalized 3 times. It was 13 years. Nobody listened. All these different things. And I'm not making light of that. However, it wasn't until I had that awareness that, you know, if I don't do something different, this story is going to keep repeating itself. So it happened 3 times. What's going to stop it from happening 4, 5, 6, and however many more times? So I had to do something different, right? I had to purposely and intentionally choose to do something different. And it was one, forgiving myself because there was no way that being upset with myself and holding on to those emotions of regret or shame, guilt, whatever was going to do to serve me. I had to move forward. So the key was to forgive myself about what I didn't know, what I did know, and then intentionally choose to do something different. So that's letting go of that hope, right? And putting hope where it could manifest something different. Put your hope in your future by doing something today. Even little things, right? If we want to lose weight, drink more water. If we want to get in better shape, do some jumping jacks, do some push ups, do some crunches, right? Because something is better than nothing, right? And something makes a difference if it's compounded consistently over time. So if I do crunches every day, speaking to myself, y'all, haven't started but need to, okay? I mean, just the Lord has a way of speaking through you. I wasn't even planning on saying that. But if you do a crunch, here every day, right? 10 of them, for example. Over time, that is so much more of an impact than doing nothing, right? Doing nothing is going to cause you to get further away from your goals, right? Because as a result of not doing anything with the exercise, then, anything you eat is going to stay on you. So if you make bad eating choices, it's just this compound thing, right? That just keeps on going. All right. So I'm going to read this passage really quick, and it is the foreword that Summer wrote. Now, mind you, we were complete strangers. And so she wrote this foreword for me because this was over time, what her story is. But I want to read this because it's about legacy, because I just woke up about this cancer from somebody passing away. And you'll understand a little bit more as I read the foreword. So, given a 9% chance to survive 3 months to a year in the year 2018 from pancreatic cancer, I am grateful to share that I have no evidence of disease 4 years later. I believe God said, "Not yet, Summer." Excited to celebrate life again in 2020, I found myself deflated, depressed, and homebound due to COVID restrictions because I was considered high risk. I felt so alone. In addition, the chance of pancreatic cancer returning was high, and I'd been told that I had a 7% chance to survive for 5 years from the original diagnosis in 2018. So, how do I plan a future of any kind or enjoy life with that statistic hanging over my head while being confined to my home? My husband continued to remind me that I had a 9% chance originally, and I'm still here. Now, what, God? What is next? It wasn't until January of 2021 that I hopped onto a new online audio only platform. I found myself searching for positive and uplifting people to follow. It was there that I heard Lachelle speak, and she shared inspirational stories of her journey and triumph over depression. I reached out by messenger to let her know how she motivated me to step out of my comfort zone and truly live. I even suggested to her that I would help her in any way because I saw that she had goals and a plan to achieve them. I wanted to make sure I was going to hear what she had to share and when. She responded and asked if I wanted to start a club with her. She even had the nerve to say, "Let's do it for 21 days and call it How to Eat an Elephant in 21 Days." In a state of depression at the time, I had a difficult time committing an hour of productivity for myself, and she wants 21 days from me? And what does eating an elephant have to do with anything? I said yes. If you're laughing at me, I understand. I barely took time to consider it because she seemed to understand depression and she had been there, done that, and was thriving. So together we did it. We opened the club Monday through Friday for the year 2021. It was all about tackling the elephant in the room, that may hold us back. And we offered speakers and topics where we were given tools to overcome and to thrive at each meeting. Almost 2 years later, we are still hosting the Elephant Strategy Club. During that time, Lachelle empowered me to get a pancreatic cancer walk in Richmond for the first time ever. We helped make that happen. Not only did that happen, but Lachelle drove from Georgia to Virginia to walk with me at the walk and brought two of her daughters. Lachelle Atkins not only talks the talk and provides the tools to help you thrive, but she walks the talk. Although many miles separate us and our lives are so different, as she has 15 children and I have none, we are forever family. God put us together, and I am eternally grateful to also thrive. If you're reading this book, you too are blessed. Keep reading a little at a time, and you just start your journey today. Take one day at a time. Just do today, because tomorrow has enough troubles of its own. There's nothing you can't do when you take it one bite at a time. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. Romans 12:12. Summer DeCoste. So I just want to say, I love that. I mean, that is just so awesome. I mean, complete strangers. And how we know each other now, you know, that whole journey from being a stranger to sharing some of the most intimate thoughts and emotions today is just like, I don't know. I mean, and I'm very skeptical about online, meeting people online, all that stuff. My kids are like, oh, this person's nice, and I'm like, you don't know them. Online people could be saying anything. But it's just really profound how, you're able to make connections with people and be able to share. And I think, that's one way that we think about, having a diagnosis like that, 9% chance to live. And think about the mindset that you have to have for that, how you're able to still be here 5 years later. And not only that, you're walking and being an inspiration for people that are overcoming or dealing with what you dealt with. And I just think it's amazing. So I just challenge everybody today, as it's Sunday, September 17th, we're 99 days to Christmas. And sometimes that's what people live for, is Christmas. And that's what this diagnosis was for this lady who has passed away. The doctor, she had went through all these tests, and the doctor said, you're not going to make it till Christmas. Right. And now we're 99 days till Christmas. So it's really a powerful thing to reflect on your legacy. Are you doing the things that are going to build the legacy that you want? Are you spending the time with the people? Are you acknowledging them? Are you letting them know how much you care? Are you present with them? Right? Are you present with everybody that you encounter? Because you just never know what somebody's story is, right? I mean, just hearing that interview and realizing that, she had the grace and the humility to share her story. She took an hour out of her life to do that. And I mean, if you think about it, the time that we take out of our life, are we making an impact with it? Right? Whether we're working, whether we're online, you know, if we really begin to think about that, because the time that we have is really a seed, right? Every day is a new opportunity to plant a seed. So if you want to have a harvest tomorrow, what are you planting today? Right? And that is physical and mental, spiritual, and everything else, right? We think about that. So, I just want to remind you that I love you. Thank you so much for watching. And think about your legacy, right? It doesn't have to be anything grandiose, because a lot of times it's the little things that we do every day that build up, right? It is the intention of being present. And I'm guilty myself. I have 10 kids at home, and I sometimes am a hermit in my office. It's like, playing hide and seek. I want to go hide in my office while they're out doing other things. But, you really have to realize that time is precious. You're not going to be around forever. Everybody has an expiration date. So knowing that, how are you having gratitude? How are you making those moments matter? Are you creating memories that you want to implant or imprint in the minds of others? Do you want to be that person that is talked about, for something negative or something positive? Do you want to be an inspiration? It's so easy. The key to being inspirational is just telling the truth, right? That is it. If you tell the truth, you're relatable because we lie to ourselves all the time. We lie to ourselves thinking that, we got it all together when we don't, right? We lie to ourselves thinking, oh my gosh, nobody knows what I'm going through, right? I mean, it's crazy the things that we tell ourselves. So when you expose that, you have an instant connection with other people because they go through the same thing. So as a mom, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going in the kitchen, there's dishes all over the counter. What happened here, right? Did not tell them to do their chores. That's relatable. That makes people laugh and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I really can listen to what else she's saying." Because hey, I might learn something, right? Because you feel that it is something that you can relate to. So the key to be inspirational is to tell the truth, right? Get comfortable with telling the truth. Get comfortable with being honest with yourself. Get comfortable with looking at yourself in the mirror. Because if you're able to do that, it's not going to matter what anybody else says. Because the truth is, everybody has that same reflection. See, that's what I learned, right? All this time I was over here trying to sugarcoat things, trying to be perfect. And then after I started sharing my story and hearing everybody else's story, I thought, now here I was thinking I was all by myself. I thought I was just the worst victim. I mean, woe is me. Nobody can have it as bad as I do. And I hear people that have stories that are worse, right? So be honest, tell the truth, and you'll be relatable, and that's inspirational. So, everybody, have an amazing Sunday. And I look forward to seeing you next week. This is something that I'm starting on Sundays at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, not sure what next week's topic is, but I just want to express my sincere condolences to Jessie Lee Ward's family with the loss of her life, and for a lot of other people that have gone before us. My dad passed away of lung cancer, and cancer is something that is, it's something we don't understand, right? I mean, death, I think at the end of the day, we don't understand. It's like, why do we have to leave, right? Why do we have to go? But it's just a part of life. So, my sincere condolences to her family, to her business connections, her clients, because I know that just hearing her story, that she was very impactful and did a lot to help people get out of their own way and help them to be better versions of themselves. So, make it an amazing day, an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye for now.